Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. Welcome back to Walking with Wanzu, and my name is Yvette Wanzu. It's been a minute. I just said that sometimes I'll just be coming back on here shamelessly because when you see me not recording an episode, guys, either I'm super busy, so caught up with work or caught up with just day-to-day activities, or I am feeling extremely uninspired. And one thing I do not like to do is come on here and churn out content that is not from the heart, or content that is just for the sake of putting out content because I need to. I like for the issues that we discuss to be heartfelt. I like for them to be relatable, and I just want them to come from a place of love and understanding, and from a place of openness and sharing. How have I been? I have been well. I could be better if Nairobi could just catch some sun, because this cold weather is not for me. Please, I wake up in the morning, I am cold, everywhere hurts. I'm so scared of taking that morning shower. And I see, like, even to now it's Sunday, and I can even hear already those morning sniffles on Monday after taking my shower. It's just, the cold weather is just not for me. It's just not for me. I'm really looking forward to when we can finally have some sun and we can walk around in our flowy dresses and cute short shorts and skirts and just feel the sun on our skin and just feel warm again. Other than complaining about the Nairobi weather, I have been well. I am grateful. God has been good. God has been kind. He has been providing. He has come through more times than I can possibly count. In fact, if I'm being honest, I have lost count. My daughter is asthmatic, so she's not doing too well with this weather. We are constantly in and out of hospital. It's a flu here, a cold there, a pneumonia scare here. It's a lot. But even in all things, we give thanks, and we are grateful that even if when you're in the storm, you can't quite see the end, but when you're towards the end, you're just like, God is faithful. He's taking me through that. And so I'm grateful. What other thing has happened? Since I last spoke to you guys, I am now a single woman. I ended my relationship. Maybe now is not a good time to just get into the details of whatever happened, but the truth is, I just felt like, for me personally as a person, I have a lot of internal work to do as far as healing, as far as chasing the goals that I have for myself, being present as a parent and as a daughter. And so I was just looking at all the things that I want to do, and I didn't feel like I was showing up as the best version of myself in my relationship. So there were constant fights, but more so I felt like I needed to pull away. I didn't want to be a toxic partner, which I was slowly becoming, because of the small frustrations that I had here and there. So I just decided to end things, take a bit of a break, even if you please, if that's what we would call it, and just go and work on me first. And if it's God's will that we will reunite, then that's fine. And if it's not, then man, I would rather be happy alone than miserable with someone. So I didn't want to be the source of their misery, and I just decided to amicably just end things. Of course, it was not easy. Breakups are messy. Like, there are very few breakups that I know that people go through that they're just like, we just decided, imagine we just go and everything is fine. So there were a lot of tears, there was a lot of back and forth, but with all that said and done, now I'm single. So I don't know, I don't want to put it out there into the universe that I'm not searching. I, however, want to do a lot of internal work, just so if it's God's will that I get into another relationship, I'll be in a much better place and space than I am in now. Physically, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. I started exercising. I did it consistently for a week. And then because my daughter got unwell and I also wasn't feeling my best, I had put a stop to it. But I feel like tomorrow morning I'm getting back into it. Exercise is making me sleep better. I have really bad insomnia. So once I exercise and I'm nice and tired, then it helps me sleep better. It's also helping. I'm trying to gain weight. I know this is so weird. Like, we are always hearing people around us speaking about excuse me, I want to lose weight. But me, I'm one of those few. I'm one of the isolated cases of people who want to gain weight. And I feel like the best way I can do that is through exercising. One, to help me build muscle, to put me in a good mental space, but also to be able to see if it can jolt my appetite a bit, so I can be eating better. Because me, my eating habits, for someone who wants to add weight, I am not doing well. And I feel like I like, for someone also who wants to add weight, I eat too healthy. I'm out here snacking on raisins, eating bananas, sweet potatoes, ndomas. You catch me where the boiled maize is. I just for someone who wants to add weight, I snack really healthy. I think the only thing, my guilty pleasure, my guilty pleasure, the one thing that I will say I eat unashamed, is potatoes in any form. Give me even boiled potatoes, deep fried potatoes. I love potatoes, man. If you don't like potatoes, I don't think we can be friends, because what is wrong with you? What else? I want to this can be a sort of a catch-up episode, but also there's a lot that has been happening over the time that I have been away. So I'll take you through some of the lessons of some of the events that I have been through. Do feel free to connect with me, reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is Yvette1Zoo. You can find me there. You can write me an email on tewanzoo@gmail.com. Feel free to share this podcast, and let's just connect and let's just talk, because this thing called life, it needs partnership, man. It needs us telling each other that, you know what, you're not alone. Even me, I feel like I'm going through that or something similar to that. So let's get into it. I want to share two things, right? I want to share some of the lessons that I have taken from my breakup, so from my previous relationship. And then the second thing that I want to share is matters about depression, wellness, and just all round taking care of oneself. So let's start with breakups. Let's start with the relationship and the lessons I've gotten from my breakup. One of the lessons that I have gotten from my breakup, and this I even saw it towards the end of my relationship, is sometimes relationships reveal sides of you that you never thought were there. It can reveal the good side. So it feels good to be loved up, to be, to feel like you're secure, to feel loved and all that. And it brings, I don't know, I feel like falling in love comes with a certain kind of optimism. You're just like, I'm broke, it's okay, me, I'm loved. I'm like this, it's okay, me, I'm good, I have someone. So there's an optimism that comes with falling in love that is just beautiful, and I think that's something that we all long for. However, falling in love can also reveal parts of yourself that you never knew existed. So it can reveal your insecurities. Like for me, it revealed a lot of my insecurities. I think I have a lot of trust issues, to be honest. It's going to take a lot for me to be able to be in a relationship and fully trust with my whole heart, mind, body, and soul, and just believe that, okay, I am in love with this person is in love with me, and I am trusting them to nurture this relationship. And the fact that I'm trusting them to, I'm trusting them with my heart, I'm trusting them with my love, I'm trusting them with my resources and all these things, and to believe that they truly deep down in their hearts, they have the best intentions at heart for me, deep down. And so it got me thinking, why is it so hard for me to trust someone? And I think it has a lot to do with trauma, like trauma from past experiences, trauma from just seeing how the world is right now and how people are just out here doing each other wrong. And so it comes from trauma, but it's also a defense mechanism. I think it's like, let me just think the worst, because the worst is what is bound to happen. And so when I'm in a relationship, I'm having a very hard time trusting my partners. The other thing I notice about myself is I am quite petty. I am very petty. So if I have a need and I have a hard time communicating it, I'll either pick a fight or just be petty. Like do small petty things, until now I'll scatter around the issue until eventually, when things are about to go south, is when now I'll effectively communicate and say, this is what I wanted, or this is what I meant. And sometimes if I could just communicate directly, it could just spare my partner and I so much trouble and anguish. All this to say, I'm also grateful that I have always had a very open mind as far as dating is concerned. And in this particular context, the dynamics was so different. And that in itself was our strength, but that was also our weakness, the differences that we had. I, however, come out knowing that having dated someone who's from a totally different background, a totally different demographic, who has beliefs that are kind of different to mine, who's been brought up way different, in a different way than I have now respect for where they come from. I think I have a deeper understanding of their culture and things like that. And it is opening my mind to open up to different cultures, to diversify my understanding of things and things like that. So I'm grateful for that experience. What am I taking away from it is that I genuinely have a lot of self-work to do. I don't think it's something that can be done overnight. I don't even want to put a timeline on it. I think healing sometimes is a continuous process, and it's layers upon layers, and it can take a while. And so I do have a lot of internal self-work to do, but I also just need to give myself permission to love and to be loved. Another thing I'm taking away is to learn to let go, right? Sometimes when things are going well and you really like how things are happening, it's really hard to shift focus or to shift gear and to say, okay, perhaps this is not what I want, but because you're so comfortable in that space or with that particular person, you don't want to shift things. So I'm just learning that sometimes a time comes when you need to let go of certain things or to hold on to certain things, and that's okay, because that's the nature of life. It's just like the way I was complaining now and saying it's so cold in Nairobi. It's just seasons. Like, the times it will be cold, there are times it will be warm, there are times that tree bears fruit, sometimes it has to shed some leaves, and that's okay. And it's not all the time violence. Like, things don't always have to end on a bad note. Sometimes it's just what it meant. It's just what has happened, and that's okay. However, it doesn't take away from the fact that there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of pain, and you go through the motions, but that's also okay. So I'm trusting to go through the process. Sometimes you feel hurt, sometimes you feel like you miss the person, but it's all part of the process. And I feel like time, as cliche as this sounds, time is a healer, and so over time things will be better and will get better. The other thing I wanted to speak on in terms of self-care is I have been really anxious, and I can see why that has been. We are on the second half, well into the second half of the year. There are some things that I had hoped to achieve that I have, and others that I haven't, and I'm really, really scared. Some of them is because I'm a chief procrastinator. Others is because of the timing. Others is just resources. But there are different reasons why those things haven't happened. And so when I see, sometimes I get this sense of, oh my God, time is running out, and I get anxious. And as a result of that, my sleep has just been all over the place. Like, the days I'll sleep at midnight, the days I'll sleep at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 2 a.m., between midnight, I don't know, 10 p.m. And I'm just like, how long can this kind of, quote unquote, dysfunction continue? And so I've just taken a hold of myself. And even as I do that, I'm extending myself so much grace, because putting in new patterns is really hard when you've been, when you've just been going with the flow and just doing things like this and like that. So I decided to work out, like I was sharing with you earlier. Another thing I decided to do was set an alarm. So I have an alarm that's telling me you have a few minutes before you need to go and sleep. And then I have a final alarm, which usually is at 10 p.m. telling me you better be, let me tell you, if you're not knocked out, you better be in bed and covered trying to sleep. So I have an alarm for that. Another thing I did was anyone, anything, or any situation that makes me anxious, I have decided to distance myself from it. That's why I chose to end my relationship, because I felt like I wasn't showing up as my best, and there was a lot of back and forth that was making me anxious. So I decided to respectfully end things. Another thing is just reanalyze my friendships and my connections, communicate clear boundaries. Another thing was just, take care of myself, check my eating habits, check what it is that I am consuming, check what mind space I'm in, and just try as much as possible to do things that give me joy, things that fill my cup. I've also been very intentional about some of the rituals I'm creating in the house, as far as prayer with my daughter is concerned, as far as reading the Bible. I've seen it a couple of times today. It makes me so happy because I personally am a Christian, and I've been seeing my daughter jamming to a lot of Christian music and enjoying it, and that's really, really good for me, because I don't like to listen to vacuous music. I mean, don't get me wrong, once in a while I'll get my groove on, I'll twerk, but I like music that's enriching for the soul, music that even if because what we take in, we regurgitate, right? So music that if I choose to listen to it again, it will speak to my heart and to my spirit. It won't just be vacuous music that doesn't have a message, and so I really like that. So that's what I've been doing, guys, and as a result, I've been seeing small changes. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and it's cold and I don't feel like going to work and I'm so moody, but I'll encourage myself. I'll listen to a song, I'll work out, I'll make myself pumped. If I need to get some ice cream to give me energy, so I won't sit in a corner and waddle in self-pity and eat ice cream. I'll eat the ice cream to give me energy, take a moment, re-energize, get back into it, and it's really working for me. All in all, this was just a check-in to let you know that I am thinking about you guys. I'm still here. I'm just adulting, going through the emotions, going through life, but I'm here. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know how you've been. Has this flu that has been going around caught up with you? Is the weather affecting you as much as it's affecting me? Are you single? Have you found someone? If you were single the last time you were listening to this, if you have, then that's good for you, and I'm happy for you. Whatever it is that you have attained, whatever milestone, big or small, I celebrate you, and I thank God for you. I'm sending you good vibes and lots of love and sunshine as you start the new week. For those of us who are voting, because it's another election year in Kenya and silly season is about to end, please vote wisely. Just know that whoever it is that you choose is going to affect your life and the lives of those that you love and are responsible for. Sending you love and sunshine. Love on yourself, be gracious to yourself, and love others. And just remember to try and treat everybody around you just how you would want to be treated. God bless you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Hi guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. My name is Yvette Wanzu, and welcome back to the Walking with Wanzu podcast. Now, I know it's been a minute, but I just want to celebrate the fact that I have not been away for months, and then I'm just coming back on here acting like everything is okay. So how are you? How are you really? How has life been the last few weeks? I know we spoke a couple of weeks ago, perhaps even a month, but I'm definitely sure it's not more than a month ago. How is life treating you? How's work? If you're in school, how's school? I'm just hoping that you're well. And if you're not and things seem a bit rocky or you're going through a bit of a tough time, I just want you to know that things will get better, and I'm sending you love and hugs and lots of good vibes. Now, I'm really grateful because I put out a tag on Instagram because I noticed a need to expand, but also involve you guys as I continue to make some of the content that I want to share on here. And I put out a tag on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram and you are an avid listener of this podcast, please go on Instagram and follow me. My name is Yvette Wanzu. on Instagram. Feel free to DM me, let's talk, let's connect, let's chat. So I put out the tag and I asked, what would you people come on here what would you people love for me to come on here and discuss? And there was so much, and I really love the versatility, because the topics you people shared with me ranged all the way from careers to relationships to trauma. Like it was really covering life and life stages and life circles all around. Like all the topics were coming full circle. And so I chose one that I think we can start off with. And then as we continue, I want you to know that I noted down all your suggestions and I'll be discussing all of them as we go. Feel free to continue to recommend some of the topics that you'd like me to cover. I'll speak about them and of them as authentically as I can. And if I have a personal experience to add on there, I'll be more than happy to share that with you. So let's get right into it. Someone sent out topic, and it is women shedding off societal expectations and living their best authentic lives. Now, I know this is targeting women a bit, but I feel like if you're also part of a male audience, there are a few things that you can learn about about the girl child, about women from listening to this episode. A few things that you might be able to understand clearly. Wow, clearly. I cannot speak today. Also, what are those Kamba jeans doing here? And then, so as my male audience, I feel like there are a number of things that you'll understand also about women that you might find enlightening. But also it's just good to look at, life from our own lens. I know I can't speak at length a lot about the male experience of living simply because I'm a woman, but I'm really looking forward to also expand my horizons and try and bring on a few guests here and there. And one of the things that I'm really, really trying to find is a guy who would love to do a podcast episode with me and just be as candid about the male experience of living, just as I am with my own. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you get something from this episode. So let's, where do we begin? As women growing up, upbringing is so different, because there are people who are born, me being in Nairobi, Kenya, I know there are some people who are born in the city, and in the city it could be anywhere. It could be Nakuru City. I know now we speak about counties, it could be Nairobi City, and some are brought up in the rural areas, which is like in the village. So you might be a village babe, you might be a city babe, and sometimes depending on where you're born, and perhaps if you're born into privilege or not, then you experience life very differently growing up. Growing up, I was privileged enough, being an only child though, I was privileged enough to be able to get most of the things that I needed, just the basics. I got a lot of love and support from my family. So I wouldn't say my upbringing was traumatic. I would say it was a good one. Of course, there were a few hiccups here and there, but for the most part, it was good. And one thing that I know is the formative years of a person really, really shapes who you are as an adult. And so women experience things very differently growing up. We can talk about something as simple as chores. Some can identify from a very young age that parents used to delegate certain chores for women, like doing cleaning the house, doing the dishes. And so some of us learned from a very early age, depending on your upbringing, again, that certain chores are mostly for girls and then other chores are mostly for boys. In my family, we are very neutralized, right? So especially going with the masses and what we are working with, even boys can cook, they can do the dishes, they can do household chores. It really doesn't matter. It just cuts across board. However, there are those jobs that sometimes are really tedious and require a lot of manpower. So those ones, of course, we would leave to the guys because they definitely have more strength than we do. But if need be, then we can always saidiana. We can help each other. And so I feel like your upbringing, how you grow up from like age, from as young as you are up to at least even 15 or when you start your teenage years, has a huge impact on how you continue to live your life, how you relate with life experiences as you you transition into teenagehood, you start your period as a young woman, and then as you go and you start learning about relationships and about boys and girls and all that. So your upbringing and some of the things that you're taught, small values that your parents teach you consciously and subconsciously, tend to really reflect on your character and how you view life as you continue to grow up. So every woman, I would say, has a different experience as far as their upbringing is concerned, as far as their background is concerned, where you whether it was, you live in the city or you live in the village, whether you come from, a background where your parents are better off, are well off financially, or they're not, whether your parents Christian or they're a bit, they're agnostic, or it's different, right? And so let's transition. Let's just get right into the meat of it. I want to talk about misconceptions about a woman's place in society. For the longest time, and it's the year of our Lord 2022, and women are still fighting for their space. And for the longest time, especially coming from an African society, and it's not across the board, but but I have always seen that in some communities, women are made to feel like they should be seen and not be heard. In some communities, women are also really made to feel that their place is in the kitchen. However, it doesn't escape, or it goes without being said that also, in a way, we're also shown that women are the matriarchs of society. It's like we're the backbone of society. So sometimes people feel like a home is never quite really a home without the woman there. She's the one who holds things together. She's the one who creates structure. She's the one who nurtures. Most of the time, she's the one who gives emotional support. She's the one who tends to plan. You could find in many families, and I've seen that happen, the man is most of the time the provider. However much also the woman might be working, but the woman tends to be able to just break down how resources are used in the home and how certain things are going. Most of the time, the man will just oversee and protect and provide, but the woman really, she really brings structure into the household. So there's that. There are a couple of misconceptions about a woman's place in society. Some people feel like women shouldn't study up to a certain level. Like once a woman is educated, then she becomes too educated. Or once a woman is knowledgeable and she knows her stuff, then now she knows too much and she's a know-it-all. And so as women, and even as a society, we have a long way to go to be able to break certain quote-unquote glass ceilings, but also to be at a point where I don't think the gender gap can ever quite be neutralized, and women can be the same as women. However, we should not have standards or certain walls or certain things that hinder us to be the highest version of ourselves as women. So I feel like if a woman wants to go to school, if she wants to pursue a career that's male oriented, or just wants to do more, she wants to expand herself and live in her power and tap into her power and be her true, authentic self and the best and the highest form and version of herself, I think she should be allowed to do that. She should be empowered, she should be encouraged, and should feel like, it's okay. You can do anything. I never quite want to look at breaking gender misconception and societal standards as women can do just as much as men can. It's really just a matter of allowing women to just do the most, because we seem to give men that permission, but when it comes to women, it's you can't or you need to, and in a way we are conditioned to somehow sometimes always play small just to make people comfortable. And perhaps even as the years continually progress and we continue to be more empowered and more informed, we're slowly tapping into our power and creating spaces for ourselves and just living our lives in the highest form we could possibly be. Because I don't know who you believe in, but I know God did not bring you on this earth to be mediocre, right? So if whatever you can do and you can do it well with your chest and you can be good at it and you can constantly reinvent and get better and better, as a woman, I think we should be allowed to be able to do that. Another thing that I feel is very important for us to discuss is societal timelines. Timelines as pertains to, and this is timelines in quotes, right? So timelines as in terms of in regards to marriage, children, having children as a woman, and career, right? One thing that I established at a very young age, and I think that's the biggest lesson I've carried with me in my 20s, because my 20s have been also ghetto-esque, but I think the greatest lesson that I have carried as I move forward in my 20s is knowing that everybody has their own journey, and life is so unique and is so different and experienced differently by everyone. And so it's very important to always realize that you're very unique. Your journey is very unique. How it is designed, or how the universe will take you along your path, is very different from everyone, extremely different. And you're so unique, and in the entire earth, can you imagine? There's no one who's like you. Like, there's no one who can do things the way you do, that can think like you do. You're just unique in your own way. And once you're able to identify that, and then now live in your truth and just walk your journey at your own pace, then societal timelines shouldn't be an issue for you. I know people who are not ready for marriage, or just feel like marriage is not their thing, or at the moment they don't know if they're in a position to commit on that level. But because of societal timelines, then you feel like you get people telling you things like, don't you think it's time you settle down? Or don't you think you need to find someone? And you at a certain age, when you have a group of friends and now everyone is calling you for weddings and rorashios, and you're just thinking, is there something wrong with me? But maybe it's just not your time, or that's just not the path you're on at that particular time. And that's okay, And I feel like even as fellow women, as aunties, when you become an aunt, or when you become a sister and a friend, learn to grant people or women around you being. So if you're in a space where you're getting married and your life is going on for you, don't feel the need to pressurize other people, or really rub it in their face that they're lacking because they haven't reached a certain phase in their life that you have reached. I also think motherhood and mothering babies is not for everyone. The people who genuinely know from a very early age that motherhood is not for them, like, they would be happy to babysit, they would be happy to hang out with other people's kids for a day or two or an hour at most, but they don't want to have children of their own. And I think women should be given, should be allowed to just decide, what, motherhood is not for me. I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to subscribe to that level of commitment of raising a child, and that should be okay. I know it can be sad in a case where, your parents are really expecting grandchildren and they want the legacy and the lineage to continue. However, I don't think that should come from a point of pressure. It should come from you deciding that, you want a baby, or you want to commit to that, and then do it. Other thing is matters about your career, and this I'm also still working around. I really compare when I see people graduate young. I really compare when I see people getting their masters and getting their PhDs, and you're just there like, tululu, I haven't finished my diploma. And so I don't think you should, as a woman, you should put timelines for yourself as far as your career is. You can constantly reinvent, constantly switch lanes. You can get that degree at 40. You can go back to school at 50. You can switch jobs and decide you're doing something totally different at whatever age you're in. And giving yourself that permission and being gracious to yourself, and being blind even to the haters, or even people who have too many opinions about your life, and just doing what deep down feels right to you and that you can do well, is very important. And I think we should encourage young women and even older women who feel they want to try out new things, they want to explore. Maybe at some point they feel like they let themselves go and they want to tap into their power and do something even more for themselves. It's never too late. I don't think there's a certain timeline as far as career is concerned. It's the goals you set for yourself and the pace at which you want to live your life. So I think that's very important. Another thing that's very, very important, and this is also such a touchy topic for me, is women's bodies. Now, as women, our bodies are constantly changing. I remember when I was in my teen years, when I was in high school, hey man, I wish I could go back to those days. I was so, I feel like that was when my body was at its best. And I know that your best is yet to come, because I'm believing for for some curves, yo. I'm believing for some curves. Amen. So when I was in high school, I was curvier, I was chunkier. I really felt, I think that's when I felt the sexiest. And so after I had my baby, instead of adding weight, I lost a lot of weight. And I've never really managed to get my body confidence to where I needed to be. And it doesn't help when I look on Instagram and I see other places. I'm just like, oh my God, it's curves, curves, curves all over the place. And sometimes I even wear an outfit and I'm like, if only I was a bit curvier, if only my ass was a bit bigger, if only I look like this and I look like that. And sometimes it's the reverse for someone who feels like they're thicker and they're trying to lose weight, or someone who feels like their waist is too big, or their stomach is too big, or their boobs are too big. Like, it's always something with our bodies. And it's my prayer and hope, even for me, because it's a gradual process, that we all get to a point where we love and appreciate our bodies as they are, but we also learn to dress them and just look nice and just appreciate it, right? I don't think there's a need, but people always be talking because macho haina pazia. But I have caught myself so many times wanting to comment about somebody's outfit because of how their body looks, and just saying, you know what? If honestly it's decent, it looks good, like they feel good, I should be able to grant them being. So if that particular outfit sparks their light and they feel good about it, then it's not in my place to even feel some type of way about someone's outfit, because first of all, it's not my body. Yeah, it's not my outfit. I think also society, as far as also men are concerned, they should stop. There's a very hush narrative around men and women's bodies. They really feel like they're entitled to it, almost like it's property. And sometimes they feel a need to give a lot of unsolicited opinions. And I hope that we'll get to a point where that stops, right? So it's my greatest fear it's my greatest hope that women rather own their power and just love and accept their bodies for what they are. I think it's such a good example, especially for young girls, when they see that you're owning your body, you're owning your hair, whether it's kinky hair, whether it's soft hair, whether it's short hair, you just love yourself from head to toe just as you are. Because whether you believe it or not, I know there's a part of your body where you just look at it and you're just like, this is cute. And just amplify that as you dress and as you walk around and as you go through life doing what you do. Amplify that part of your body and enjoy it. Yeah. So the last thing perhaps I would like to discuss, and I'll just perhaps even pose this as an encouragement, is, dear woman, young, older, or even at the tender age that I am of 29, I just want you to take back your power. If at any point you feel like you've lost yourself, or you're feeling a bit vague, or like you need someone to give you a nudge, this is me giving you a nudge, telling you that if honestly, me personally, if I was to die and come back, I would definitely want to come back as a woman. There's so much beauty in being a woman. We have so much to live for. Our bodies are designed in such beautiful and miraculous ways. And there's just so much spice and goodness about life that comes as being a woman and just owning. So there's something about, as a woman, take back your power, please. Own it. Be your best, authentic, and be the highest form of yourself. And just know that your journey in life is very personal and very unique. So whatever you're good at, that is your thing. Embrace it. And just know that even the times when you're nursing insecurities, or you're feeling like, when you feel like you're not at your best, it happens to everyone. It's just about you. It's not how many times you fall, really. It's how you pick yourself up and how you choose to move on, and how you continuously encourage yourself and fight for yourself, and also fight for those who do not have a voice to be able to speak around you. I really enjoyed talking about this. I hope you've learned something from this episode. Thank you for coming back. Please feel free to share, give me some of your feedback, and I will see you on the next episode. It's great to be a woman. Take back your power, own it, enjoy it, embrace it. It's a good time. It's a good time to be a woman, and it's a good time to be alive. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.